Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is another HR series video. This time we'll be focusing on payroll, and I will be focusing on two roles within the payroll department, and that is the payroll specialist role and the payroll manager role. Overall, what does the payroll department do? The payroll department ensures that every employee in a company gets paid. They are the one that process wages. They are the ones that ensure that employees who need back pay get back paid. They calculate wages, tax deductions, all of that good stuff that you see on your paycheck. Payroll handles it. And obviously, since they are the payroll department, they are in charge of answering any payroll related questions that an employee may have. If an employee hasn't gotten paid for the week that they work, they normally go to their manager and then they go to the payroll department to figure out exactly what went wrong. So they are in charge of problem solving any payroll related issue within a company. The payroll department also prepares financial reports so they can present it to the higher ups within a company, and they also prepare financial reports in case they get audited in the future. Speaking of audits, they also are in charge of making sure that they keep proper documentation of anything and everything related to payroll, especially when there's a situation that an employee has been getting paid unfairly, or they have been getting paid too much, or whatever the reason is. The payroll department needs to make sure that they keep documentation of any issue that arises, so in case the company gets sued or they get audited, they have the accurate information on hand to defend themselves and to show that they did their due diligence with every issue that came up. And speaking of issues that may arise, the payroll department also works with managers within departments to make sure that every employee is getting paid accurately, and if they need to get back paid or anything like that, that is processed through the payroll department. So a lot of these duties that I mentioned are handled by the payroll specialist role. Those are really the people who are on the front lines for the payroll department. You normally don't go to the manager or the director of payroll unless it's a really serious issue. The payroll manager's main role is to oversee the payroll department completely. They are also in charge of recruiting and training new payroll specialists or any new payroll team members that they bring to the department. So they also make sure that the payroll department and the company as a whole is adhering to federal and state guidelines regarding wages. And depending on the company that you work for, a payroll manager may also be in charge of researching and implementing new payroll systems within that company. So a lot of companies sometimes have a really outdated payroll system that causes a lot of headaches to the payroll team, which if the payroll team is getting headaches, then the rest of the company is also suffering because mistakes can happen. So sometimes, depending on the level of leadership that you have within a company, you can come up with new ways to improve the payroll systems that a company may be using, or advocate for getting a new system implemented. And if a new system is implemented, then obviously you are in charge of training the rest of your employees. So what are the education requirements for a payroll specialist? Bare minimum, you do need a high school diploma, but the majority of companies that I've seen on Indeed or ZipRecruiter do require at least a bachelor's degree. Since you're working a lot with numbers and finances, you would benefit from having a bachelor's degree in accounting or finance or business. You can have one in HR as well, but you would set yourself apart from everyone else if you have a degree in something like finance or accounting. And then the same applies to the payroll manager role, where you need a bare minimum of a bachelor's degree. Of course, with any manager role or director role, sometimes companies are looking for a master's degree, or they're looking for additional certificates that will set yourself apart from a payroll specialist or from other managers in the industry. Again, accounting and finance degrees are the go-to for payroll. It doesn't mean that if you have a psych degree or any other type of degree that you don't have a chance of ever working in payroll. It just means that it will take you a little bit longer to gain experience, and that you would definitely have to start from the bottom. But honestly, it depends on the company and on the industry that you're working for. Okay, so what is the salary for a payroll specialist? According to salary.com, the average pay for a payroll specialist is between $20 and $25 an hour, which translates to $39,000 to $50,000 $52,000 a year. So they don't really get paid a lot, although again, as I say in every HR video, take the salaries with a grain of salt. Depending on the industry that you're working in, depending on your education, on the company size that you're interviewing for, your wages and your salary will definitely vary. From conversations that I've had with payroll specialists in the past, they really don't get paid a lot for what they do. And then for a payroll manager, the salaries goes up a lot. And according to salary.com, the average payroll manager salary in the United States is $102,591 a year, and the range is between $90,000 and $117,000 a year. So as you guys can see, if you become a manager, your pay substantially goes up, but obviously you need lots of years of experience, at least a bachelor's degree, sometimes even more with additional certificates to land a payroll manager role. So what are some of the pros and cons of working in a payroll department? One of the pros of working in a payroll department is a pro within all of HR, which is that you have a Monday to Friday schedule, typically a 9 to 5. Sometimes you can negotiate starting earlier or starting later depending on the company that you're working for, but it's typically a 9 to 5 schedule, and it's great because you get to have weekends to yourself. So there's also a lot of room for growth in a payroll department. You can put in time and effort in a payroll specialist role and eventually grow into a payroll manager or director role within the company that you're working for, but obviously that takes time and dedication and hard work. And there's also a wide range of industries that you can work in. So you can work in the tech industry, you can work in the healthcare industry, you can work in entertainment. There's honestly no limit to where you can take your payroll experience because every business needs payroll. So it's a lot of opportunities out there for a payroll department. And not a lot of people like numbers, not a lot of people like finance. So if that is your thing, a payroll department is a great option for you. All right, so what are some of the cons? Some of the cons are, one, it's a desk job. It's a very standard desk job. There's not a lot of movement throughout the day. You may go to a meeting on Monday, but then for the rest of the week, you're sitting at your desk processing payroll, which can get very boring and tedious if you are used to moving around a lot. So keep that in mind. If you don't want to sit behind your desk all day for 40 hours a week, then maybe don't do payroll, do something else in HR, but it's a pretty standard desk job. And there's also a high level of stress. Obviously, you are dealing with people's pay and wages, so sometimes you will have people who have not gotten paid on time to no fault of your own, or who have problems with how much they're getting paid. Again, not your fault. They will show up to your door and complain and be pissed off about it. But that comes with any job in HR, regardless of which department that you work in within HR. You do have to be a patient person, and you have to be understanding and compassionate to anyone who comes by to your office to complain. But for some people, that may be a lot to handle. So just keep that in mind if you are considering payroll. People get pissed off about their money quite easily, as they should. Why wouldn't you? Especially if you didn't get paid when you were expecting to get paid. So keep that in mind. There is a high level of stress in the payroll department, and because you're dealing with people's wages and finances within a company, there's very little room for error. You really don't want to make mistakes in a payroll department. Obviously, mistakes happen, and we're human. We're not robots, we're not machines, so it's normal to make mistakes. But if you work in payroll or any HR department, you really have to own up to your mistakes and address them immediately. The mistakes are not going to go away, especially when you're dealing with someone's money and someone's paycheck. So if you notice that you make a mistake, own up to it immediately. The sooner the better, and then come up with a solution to correct your mistake. Again, that may be too much pressure for some people. Some people may thrive on having that pressure on their shoulders. So keep in mind what type of person that you are and whether or not you are able to keep your cool in a stressful environment and are able to keep going even when you make mistakes. So keep those things in mind for payroll. I personally don't really like the payroll department, or actually, I don't have a problem with the payroll department. I have a problem working in a payroll department. It's not something that I would enjoy doing. And that's pretty much it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this HR series video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe. I would love to have you a part of my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.